News Central now at this hour begins with the latest from Osun State, where the State Independent Electoral Commission, OSEC, on Sunday presented certificates of return to the newly elected chairman of the state's 30 local government councils. The People's Democratic Party dominated the elections, winning all chairmanships and councillorship positions in the southwestern state. OSEC Chairman Barrister Hashim Adeyeye congratulated the elected officials, urging them to serve the people with integrity. In a statement, the PDP commended the voters for peacefully exercising their democratic rights despite challenges, including harassment by security agents. Our party chairman, Honorable Sunday BC, praised the electorate for resisting attempts to derail the elections and condemned violence during the polls, calling for justice for the victims. Meanwhile, Osun State Governor Adeyeye has directed newly elected local government chairmen to steer clear of council secretariats to prevent unrest. Now, speaking at the swearing-in on Sunday, Adeyeye urged the 30 chairmen and their deputies to focus on community development and uphold the PDP's manifesto. He praised the peaceful electoral process, commended security agencies, and thanked President Bola Tinubu for maintaining stability. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde also addressed the event, warning against political violence and urging officials to serve the grassroots diligently. The Osun State Independent Electoral Commission declared PDP candidates winners of all 332 councillorship and 30 chairmanship seats. In the meantime, Osun State Governor Adeyeye has been accused of violating his oath of office and the rule of law following the conduct of the local government election on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. The APC National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, described Adeye's actions as a disregard for the rule of law and a violation of the Court of Appeal's February 10, 2025 ruling. The APC also criticized Governor Adeye's appointment of caretaker committees following the sack of the local government officials in 2022, describing the move as illegal and a direct violation of Section 7, Subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution, which guarantees a system of local government by democratically elected councils. Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, has called for an improvement in the conduct of citizens to guarantee better managed elections devoid of violence. This was during the launch of 2 books on election security management by the former Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, in Abuja, which made far-reaching recommendations for security personnel to better manage future polls. Amadin Uyi reports.
With post-election litigations now becoming a normal part of Nigeria's electoral process, experts believe much needs to be done to improve election transparency and integrity in the country. Many believe a key aspect of the nation's electoral process needing reforms is election security management.
One gets worried when you come to Nigerian elections. Just like as I said, the key actors in elections are the electoral management body, in our own case the INEC, and the police. And sometimes elections are done anyhow we like. Why so?
At this book launch by Nigeria's former Inspector General of Police, Solomon Arase, stakeholders here say many factors affect the integrity of the nation's electoral process. They identify bad behavior by the electorate and election managers as being a key aspect that needs to be addressed.
Beyond the critical driving role of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the quality of the legal framework and the governing the democracy process, the conducts of political actors, the professional outputs of the police, and the extended policing family within the democratic space remains a fundamental variable in our democratic journey.
One day, the country will get to the level where people will reject bad behavior. Because we're in a society where people accept the wrong thing and celebrate those who do the wrong thing.
When we talk about election, it depends on the human being that is involved. If the right person is involved, we have free and fair election.
They commend the book writer for his contribution to election security management, urging all citizens to embrace recommendations in the book, which seeks to improve future polls.
This is our own contribution to the advancement of our democratic journey. And I encourage everyone to obtain a copy to gain insights into the critical question of security governance of our democratic space and processes.
Stakeholders urge election managers to use the book as a template to ensure the management of election security is improved in future polls. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
Moving on from that, the implementation of local government autonomy in Nigeria remains stalled 7 months after the Supreme Court ordered direct funding to local councils. Now, despite the July 2024 ruling mandate that allocations bypass state governments, legal experts say both federal and state authorities are delaying compliance, undermining the judiciary's authority. Now, the Supreme Court, led by Justice Emmanuel Agim, declared that withholding local government funds is unconstitutional and barred states from appointing caretaker committees. However, the federal government's 3-month moratorium and ongoing pushback from state governors have slowed progress. Analysts warned that continued delays not only defies the Supreme Court, but also threatens democratic governance at the grassroots level. Earlier, a lawyer and political analyst, Dayo Ajibola, shared his thoughts on this development.
Supreme Court position is so clear that to every design in mind, our governors, I said it here on this TV station at the start of this discourse when the judgment just came out newly, that we should expect the governors to fight back. They will never want the implementation of all these position of the Supreme Court, because the local government to them is where they are getting their cow, their whatever from. The money of the local government is what they are using to for their own political ends and economic well-being in quote. You know, I said it to the extent that I was saying that the EFCC position should be, you know, made more powerful on local government vis-a-vis monitoring local government funds, how it is spent, and what have you. But today, because the governors have now reached a kind of a hard position on them, sequel to the Supreme Court position, they are now trying to conduct election. However, a kangaroo or what have you election just for them to have their way.
The remains of the former Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, former military governor and retired senior military officer, Lieutenant General Jeremiah Usaini, has been committed to Mother Earth in his hometown in Langtang local government area in Plateau State with full military honors. Correspondent Chizoba Anyongwe reports that family, friends, associates, close allies, government officials at all levels gathered in Plateau State for the funeral service at the Church of Christ in Nations Headquarters, Langtang North local government area. Represented by Inentawe Yelwada, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, President Bola Tinubu condoled with the bereaved family, saying that the country will miss the general.
He dedicated his life for this country through the war, from different war that he served the country, defended Nigeria to be one. He stood for this country and put his life on the line that all of us should live. That's what General Seni has done to this country and to Nigeria. And for us up here at the national level, we bring the word of comfort to the family, to the state, and to His Excellency the Governor of Plateau State, Barrister Khaled Ulfa.
This is the beginning of the closure of the chapter of the generals known as the Langtang Mafia. But it wasn't a mafia with the evil set.
It is said that from dust we came, and unto dust we shall return. Late Lieutenant General Jeremiah Timbut recently retired, has bowed to Mother Earth. His death is a great loss to his family, the Nigerian Army, and the nation in general. We love you, General, but God loves you more.
Nigerians who suffered injustices under General Ibrahim Babangida's regime are calling for his prosecution following the release of his autobiography, A Journey of Service. Survivors and relatives of victims recounted their ordeals, demanding justice for alleged crimes, including the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election and crackdown on dissent. Now, human rights activists like Femi Falana, Femi Aborishade, Debo Adeniran, among others, insist that Babangida should face trial for human rights abuses, media suppression, and the deaths of pro-democracy figures. Critics also say his public regrets are insincere, calling for accountability over past atrocities. Meanwhile, families of victims question the continued celebration of Babangida despite Nigeria's painful history. Joining us now to share more insights on this story is lawyer and rights activist Femi Aborishade, one of those incarcerated during the protests that followed the June 12, 1993 presidential election annulment. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, on the news.
Thanks very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, you have strongly called for General Babangida's prosecution. What specific legal grounds do you believe should be pursued against him?
Well, IBB scuttled the democratic rule in Nigeria. In particular, it reigned between 1985 and 1993. He became, for the first time, he named himself president as if he were elected. And when he came to power, he never intended to leave power. I started my political incarceration under the then president, Ibrahim Babangida. The video clip you have just shown, in which I was with Chief Adeyeye was one of the protests against the annulment of the June 12 presidential election. It was a protest called by NADECO. But unfortunately, the NADECO leaders were intimidated. They could not even start off the protests until the late Chief Adeyeye led some of us to begin that protest. It was under IBB that I started my own political incarceration in 1988 at Inter Center in Ikoyi. So it deserves to be imprisoned, to be tried and imprisoned for scuttling democratic rule in Nigeria.
All right.
It deserves to rot in jail.
All right, speaking of democratic rule,
all over IBB, blood stains, the stains of blood of people who were murdered in one day alone in 1993. Over 100, about 200 dead bodies were picked up in Lagos alone, apart from other parts of the country. So many disappearances, so many who were bitterly injured, so many who lost their freedom and who lost their lives. Some of us are just lucky to have survived the brutalization of the psyche and our bodies. So Ibrahim Babangida His pleas should be rejected. He's merely shedding crocodile tears. IBB is insincere for his confession. He deserves to be arrested, tried, and jailed. And all those who honored him at his book launch, all those who honored him by their physical presence, all those who honored him by donating billions of part of the loot they enjoyed through his political support and through the loot they enjoyed, they are merely encouraging undemocratic, they are encouraging intervention by undemocratic forces.
All right, Mr. Borishade, Mr. Borishade, in your view, can you please go ahead and tell us how you feel that the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election has impacted Nigeria's democratic development today?
No, I think it's very simple. Whereas the Nigerian people struggled to be free from totalitarian military dictatorship. Military dictatorship, they don't want Nigeria to be politically free. There is no way any society can make any progress meaningfully. Development cannot come, cannot arise on the basis of totalitarian rule, tyrannical rule, which military dictatorships represent. So from that point of view, for having the effrontery to annul the democratic aspiration of the Nigerian people, that is the worst crime anyone can commit. That is the worst crime.
Oh, okay.
Democracy has survived in spite of what they have done, not because of what they have done. And so many are paid with the democracy that we are enjoying today with their lives, with their blood. Dreams have been aborted. Families, have been disorganized. Families have been destroyed. The future of so many unsung heroes. There are so many heroes that are unknown. Only very few, like some of us, are known. So many others who made greater sacrifices than some of us remain unknown.
All right, Mr. Borishade, now what role do you think that the civil society and also the Nigerian judiciary should play in ensuring accountability for past political injustices?
Well, in my own opinion, all of us, including the media, should campaign that whoever participates in annulling the democratic aspirations of the people, whoever participates in rigging election, whoever participates in military coup d'etat should never be allowed to occupy public office in Nigeria. Because today, though we are under civil rule, but the military people, the prominent military generals are still in control. In other words, though we do not see people who are ruling us in military attire, they remain in control. Many politicians today would have to go and visit IBB to secure his support. They will have to go and consult Obasanjo to secure his control. All of this show that really, though we are under civil rule, the military people, forces are still in control of our lives. To that extent, we should ensure that anyone who supports, who aids, who participates in scuttling the democratic aspiration of the Nigerian people do not have will not have.
All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Borishade. Well, thank you so much for joining us and also for speaking to us on the news. We still had more questions we wanted to ask, but we'll move on to more stories after the break. And when we come back, we'll tell you how NAFDAC shuts over 11,000 shops, arrests 40 suspects in its continued fight against fake drugs. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now to infrastructural matters. In a landmark move to boost infrastructure and enhance socio-economic activities in the Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta Development Commission, that's the NDDC, has inaugurated the reconstructed Abraka-Obe Road and flagged off the rehabilitation of the failed portion of the Abraka-Agbor Road Phase 1, both in Ethiopia East and Orion 1 local government area of Delta State and Edo State. News Central correspondent Austin Azu, who covered the event in Delta, reports that the road is an interstate connecting several industrial and agricultural communities in Delta and Edo State.
There is sign of relief for commuters and other road users plying the now reconstructed 9.6-kilometer Abraka-Obe Road in Ethiopia East and Orion 1 local government areas of Delta and Edo States by the Niger Delta Development Commission.
This is a major road when it comes to transportation.
The road they give us headache before, but like now, we're very, very appreciative for what they have done.
This road that has been repaired, the people who did it did well, and I commend their effort.
At the inauguration of the project ceremony in Abraka, Ethiopia East local government area of Delta State, South Nigeria, the NDDC's Executive Director of Project, Victor Atai, first gives a brief history of the project.
There were incessant attacks by robbers in failed portions of this alignment. With this reconstruction, all these social vices have been completely eliminated.
The NDDC MD and board chairman Sami Ngboku and Chedu Ebie, in their separate address and remarks, recounted what the agency has done for the region since the appointment and inauguration by President Bola Tinubu.
Thank you to the people of the Niger Delta, and I also use this opportunity to beg you to give us more support as we are committed to deliver more projects.
We identify critical projects that impact the people. And so we will continue to do it. I'm proud today because as a Deltan, we're here to represent our people well.
The governor of Delta State, represented by the State Commissioner for Works, Highways and Urban Roads, Ruben Izezi, and Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission, Iratake Boris Swenun, commended NDDC for its intervention roles in the state and region.
His Excellency, therefore, wishes to commend His Excellency, Mr. President, for his support for this board of the Niger Delta Development Commission thus far, and urges him to continue to do more for the people of the Niger Delta.
And I want to thank you, Chairman, MD, for giving our people life. Because with good roads and good infrastructure comes life and light. So I thank you. And I know my people are grateful. Are you not grateful?
The Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, called on the federal government intervention agencies to emulate the impacts of NDDC on projects execution in the Niger Delta region.
To the entire governors in the country, see NDDC and other regional commissions as partners in progress, but not competitors.
The Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, accompanied by other dignitaries, thereafter proceeded to inaugurate the reconstructed 9.6-kilometer Abraka-Obe Road, and subsequently flagged off 7.24-kilometer rehabilitation phase portions of Abraka-Agbor Road Phase 1. In Abraka for News Central, Austin Azu.
Staying with infrastructural development, the Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, says that the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway will drive Nigeria's economic growth and energy sustainability. Now, during an inspection of Phase 1 in Lagos, Umahi highlighted the project's 750-kilometer stretch across 9 states, featuring wind turbines, solar lighting, and a railway line to promote clean energy and local investments. He commended the construction firm for its pace and quality while addressing compensation issues along the right-of-way. Umahi also resolved disputes with Lekki Free Trade Zone stakeholders, ensuring smooth project execution. Now, the minister further inspected the Lekki Deep-Sea Port Access Road and revealed plans for other key infrastructure projects nationwide. The Nigerian Shippers Council has revealed that the Kaduna Dry Port processed and cleared over 500 containers within the last 3 months. Now, speaking to journalists at the ongoing 46th Kaduna International Trade Fair, Bubat Njuma, director of the Kaduna Port Office of the NSC, highlighted the port's growing capacity. Njuma explained that the Kaduna Dry Port plays a crucial role in facilitating exports and imports from Kaduna to destinations across the world. He emphasized NSC's efforts to establish dry ports in inland regions to enhance trade, support regional economic growth, and provide alternatives to traditional seaports. Now let's touch on politics, where the Minister of State for Housing, Yusuf Attah, has warned APC National Chairman Dr. Umar Ganduje against extending Abdullahi Abbas's tenure as Kano APC Chairman for a 4th term. Now, speaking at a caucus meeting in Fagge, Kano, Attah threatened mass defections if Abbas remains in office, calling it a violation of the party's constitution. He accused Abbas of arrogance and blamed him for APC's 2023 electoral loss in Kano, warning that reappointing him will jeopardize the party's chances in 2027. Reports suggest Ganduje is considering Abbas for another term despite growing internal opposition. In a tragic incident, 7 people have died and 6 others injured in a communal clash in Edo State. The Edo State Police Command disclosed this in a statement on Sunday. Now, according to the command spokesman, Moses Yamu, police received a distress call on February 21st of an ongoing clash between Belemonti and Maidoti communities of Ovie Northeast local government area of the state. Casualties were taken to a hospital where 7 were confirmed dead. The situation has since been brought under control. Our police chief, Betty Otimei, pledged a thorough investigation, urging the public to resolve grievances through appropriate channels to prevent further violence. Chief Government Owezide Ekpemukpolo, popularly known as Tompolo and chairman of Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited, has been named the Security Personnel of the Year by Daily Telegraph Publishing Company Limited, publishers of New Telegraph, Saturday Telegraph, and Sunday Telegraph newspapers. Tompolo says the award held in Lagos will inspire him to further contribute to the oil and gas development and nation building in general. Receiving the award on his behalf by Mr. Paul Benebi Mimo, Tompolo expressed gratitude to the board, management, and staff of New Telegraph for recognizing his contributions in enhancing the security of critical oil and gas pipelines in the Niger Delta.
First and foremost, I want to thank God Almighty, who actually gave Tompolo the enablement to do what he's doing for the country. And also thank the New Telegraph for recognizing him as the Private Security Personnel of the Year. Truly, he's happy, he's elated for the fact that since he received this mandate to secure Nigerian oil and gas infrastructures, which is the life wire for the country. He's happy that it's paying off. Back then, 2022, when this mandate was given to him, the production was around 800, 900, and so on barrels per day. But today, Nigeria has hit the 2 million barrels per day mark, which is very significant. Looking at the budget for the year, you can see that Nigeria will certainly meet its obligations in terms of providing infrastructure for the citizens.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has sealed over 11,000 shops and arrested 40 individuals on its ongoing nationwide clampdown on fake and substandard medicines. Briefing journalists over the weekend, NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye stated that the enforcement had been planned for over a year as a covert operation. NAFDAC began enforcement operations at the Idumota Open Drug Market, the Ariaria Drug Market in Aba, and the Bridge Market in Onitsha on February 10. She said the three markets, which distributes over 80% of medication nationwide, were targeted to eliminate falsified and unregistered drugs. Adeyeye revealed that over 20 trucks of substandard drugs were evacuated from various locations in Aba. At least 30 trucks were seized in Onitsha and 27 trucks were removed from the Idumota market. Now, she also noted that the next phase of the operation will be to inspect shops individually to identify those operating legally and those who are not registered. The news continues in the east of the continent, where the Sudanese army has announced that it has successfully broken the siege imposed by the paramilitary rapid support forces on El Obeid, the capital of North Kordofan state. The siege had been in place since the outbreak of the war in April 2023. Now, Army spokesman Nabil Abdullah confirms that the forces managed to reopen the road to El Obeid, merging with soldiers stationed east of the city. Now, this marks a critical victory for the Sudanese army, as El Obeid is a strategic hub in the ongoing conflict. The break-in of the siege is seen as a key step in shifting the balance of power in the region. Meanwhile, Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces and a coalition of political and armed groups have signed a founding charter to establish a parallel government in the war-torn country. The signatories stated that the charter lays the groundwork for a government of peace and unity in areas controlled by rebels. This move comes nearly 2 years into the devastating war with Sudan's regular army, which has displaced more than 12 million people and triggered what the United Nations deems the world's worst hunger and displacement crises. The long-awaited signing, which has been delayed several times, took place behind closed doors in Nairobi, Kenya. Notably absent was RSF commander Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, though his brother Abdurrahim Daglo signed on behalf of the group. The Congolese community in Nigeria has called for an end to the war ravaging the Democratic Republic of Congo. Members of the community converged on Abuja for a prayer session to bring an end to the war, saying that the situation is dire as millions have been killed following attacks by M23 rebels and forces suspected to be from neighboring Rwanda.
So the situation right now in Congo is not good. It's not good at all, especially in the north and south Kivu. It's not good, and that's where I grew up from. I grew up from there, so I know what it is to be in insecurity. I know what it is when you're seeing your loved one being killed. So it's not an easy situation.
Everything that is taking place in the east of Congo, the invasion that we have been invaded by the Rwandese and the M23, but we want to stand behind our president, behind our army, FARDC, and to stand behind every Congolese woman and man that has been aggressed, that has been part of this violence, that people are dying. More than 10 million of people are already dead in Congo. So we are calling to all the friends of Congolese, all the Congolese everywhere in the world, every friend of Congolese. Today we will gather here, not only Congolese, with all our Nigerian friends, all our Francophone community friends, to pray that God justice will be established, that peace will reign in Congo.
It's so painful because you have so many people who are displaced. Women have been raped, children can't go to school, there's no water. You have a lot of crises going on there, sicknesses, you have cholera and all these things. And it's really affecting both politically, sentimentally, and everything. So nobody can be at peace when others are suffering somewhere. It's just like a part of your body who is sick. So it's the whole body that is sick.
Now on World Wrap, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday says Israel is ready to resume fighting in Gaza at any moment and is determined to achieve the war's objectives, whether through negotiations or other means. Now, this declaration comes after Israel halted the release of Palestinian prisoners, which was part of a ceasefire deal. Netanyahu emphasized that while much of Hamas's organized forces have been eliminated, the war's objectives won't be completed. The fragile ceasefire, which began on January 19, is set to end in early March, but negotiations for the next phase have not yet taken place. Hamas accused Israel of jeopardizing the truce by delaying the prisoner release.
אנחנו נכונים לחזור בכל רגע ללחימה עצימה. התוכניות המבצעיות כבר מוכנות. אני מבקש להעביר כאן את עיקרי המדיניות שלנו. בעזה חיסלנו את מרבית הכוח המאורגן של החמאס, אבל שלא יהיה ספק, אנחנו נשלים את מטרות המלחמה לרבות זו עד תום. זה יכול להיות מושג במשא ומתן, וזה יכול להיות מושג גם בדרך אחרת.
Now let's join our business team for today's update.
Nigeria is poised to exit the Financial Action Task Force grey list by the end of 2025, following significant progress in strengthening its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing frameworks, according to a statement by the NFRU Strategic Communications Office. This development was confirmed during the FATF plenary session held in Paris, where Nigeria's fifth progress report was approved, marking a major milestone in the country's efforts to meet international financial crime prevention standards. The grey list includes jurisdictions under increased monitoring due to deficiencies in the MALCFT regimes. Nigeria was added to this list in February 2023, and after a 2021 mutual evaluation report identified critical gaps in its financial crime prevention measures. Since then, the country has made substantial strides under an action plan jointly developed with the FATF's International Cooperation Review Group. The plenary acknowledged Nigeria's sustained high-level political commitment and collaborative efforts among stakeholders, coordinated by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. Concrete measures have been implemented to enhance the effectiveness of the country's MALCFT regime, positioning Nigeria to complete its action plan by May 2025. If progress continues at this pace, Nigeria could exit the grey list by late 2025. The Ghanaian government has announced a 10% raise in its national daily minimum wage, increasing it to 19.97 cedis beginning in March 2025. The government announced the 10% raise in a statement issued by the National Tripartite Committee on 2025 National Daily Minimum Wage. The decision was made in line with Section 113, subsection 1A of the Labour Act 2003, following negotiation at the meeting February 20, 2025, that is Thursday, when the committee considered the current economic challenges, cost of living, business sustainability, and desirability of attaining a higher employment level. The raise aims to tackle the rising living costs, ensuring businesses remain viable while employment levels continue to grow. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has urged the U.S. to purchase strategic raw materials directly from the Democratic Republic of Congo, calling it the true owner of the resources rather than Rwanda, which are accused of looting them through violence against the Congolese people. Presidential spokesperson Tina Salama revealed this on X, formerly called Twitter, saying that the president extended the offer to the U.S. first and that what has been hidden and maintained for 30 years has just been revealed by the Trump administration. She added that the proposal is also open to European nations and other buyers currently sourcing materials from Rwanda, warning that receiving stolen goods will become increasingly complicated. Her remarks come after the U.S. imposed sanctions on Rwanda's State Minister for Regional Integration, James Kabarebe, and an M23 spokesperson over the alleged roles in escalating the conflict in eastern Congo. And that's all on Business News. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
In the world of sport, Nigeria's D Tigers wrapped up their 2025 AfroBasket qualifying campaign with a commanding 77-62 win over Cape Verde in a dead rubber clash. Despite already securing qualification before tip-off, Nigeria dominated the game, led by Caleb Agada's 23 points, 6 assists and 8 rebounds. Talib Zana also chipped in 13 points as D Tigers sealed their third consecutive victory. Earlier, Nigeria edged host Libya 75-70 and trashed Uganda 87-67 in Tripoli. Their resilience saw them recover from a half-time deficit against Uganda to claim a crucial win. Now, with their place in Angola confirmed alongside with Cape Verde, Libya and Uganda, D Tigers shift their focus to preparations, aiming to reclaim the continental glory at the 2025 AfroBasket tournament. Liverpool took a huge step towards Premier League title with a commanding victory over Manchester City at the Etihad. Mohamed Salah opened the scoring in the 14th minute, finishing off a well-executed training ground corner kick routine. The Reds doubled their lead in the 37th minute with Dominic Szoboszlai capitalizing on a defensive lapse to slot home. Manchester City struggled to break down Liverpool's high press and failed to mount a comeback. The victory extends Liverpool's lead at the top of the table to 11 points, sitting comfortably with 64 points. With their title charge in full swing, and its men continue to assert dominance, urging closer to reclaiming the Premier League crown. Fiorentina striker Moise Kean was rushed to the hospital after collapsing on the pitch during a Serie A match against Hellas Verona. The 24-year-old suffered a blow on the head while contesting for a ball, but continued playing after receiving medical attention. Moments later, he lost balance and fell, prompting an urgent response from the team medics. Kean, Serie A's second top scorer with 15 goals, was stretched off wearing a neck brace before being hospitalized for further tests. Fiorentina later confirmed that he had sustained a head trauma. The incident comes months after Eduardo Bovi collapsed mid-game against Inter Milan. Fiorentina suffered a late 1-0 defeat to Verona, with Antoine Bernardi scoring in stoppage time. Finally, in the world of sport, Carlos Sainz has been appointed as director of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, replacing former Formula One champion Sebastian Vettel. The Spaniard, now with Williams, joined Alex Woz, George Russell and Anastasia Fowley in leading the driver's body. The GPDA has long focused on safety, playing a key role in implementing the halo head protection device. However, tensions with the FIA president Mohammed Ben Sulayem are rising over disciplinary measures, including potential race bans for swearing. Sanz recently criticized the penalties, arguing drivers should be treated fairly. The GPDA previously wrote to the FIA demanding transparency on fines, but no response had been received yet. The appointment strengthens the drivers' push for greater influence on Formula One governance. And that's it in the world of sport. I am Onyinyechi Obaro. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. You heard that Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has ordered newly sworn-in chairmen, councillors to stay away from local government secretariats amidst political tension. You also heard that 7 have died, 6 others injured in communal clash in Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State. Finally, we told you that Sudan's army has broken the siege on El Obeid, capital of North Kordofan State. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.